of the Palisades Presbyterian Church, and it is, at least a part of it is on fire, and you can see the flames right through this hedge in the back. And there's some sort of, I don't know if it's a volunteer firefighter unit, but they have a truck, and they've been trying to put out some of the flames.
Starting on January 7th, 2025, a series of 14 destructive wildfires affected the Los Angeles metropolitan area. The fires destroyed more than 18,000 homes and structures. The Palisades Presbyterian Church, one of our Hope Brethren churches, was burned to the ground. Hope Presbyterian Church is helping to fund the recovery of the church with a donation to the Presbyterian Disaster Assistance Program. I had the opportunity to speak with Pastor Matthew Hardin of the Palisades Presbyterian Church about the disaster and how they are recovering. I am here with Reverend Hardin to find out more about the fires and how Church Hope Presbyterian has made a donation to the presbytery will help in the recovery. So, welcome to the show, Reverend Hardin. You. And I'm so happy that you've joined me, and I'm sure our congregation will be happy as well. But to get started, just tell us a little bit about Palisades Presbyterian Church and background and where you all came from and where you're at now.
Yes, sir. Well, first let me begin by thanking you. It's nice to meet you. It's nice to have this opportunity to share with you and your church, and to thank you all for your prayers for us and all of us impacted by the fires in January. Pacific Palisades Presbyterian Church goes back 75 years. It was founded, and wonderful ministry to the community and to the larger Los Angeles area, and mission both locally and internationally. Really, we had a preschool of anywhere between 60 and 75 kids given the year, children, and then just wonderful ministries with the church, and many outreach programs to the local community. We were a polling site for elections. We served as a meeting space for Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, 12-step programs, senior programs, many different events and groups met on our site. It was a big, beautiful site, a lot of meeting space, fellowship hall, a sanctuary that sat well over 300, and the sanctuary itself was redone completely in 2000. It was finished in 1999, 2000. So it was a modern, beautiful, spacious, high-ceiling sanctuary, lots of windows and light, just a wonderful space to worship God. We, at the time of the fire, we had 200 members on rolls, but as we know as Presbyterians, that kind of doesn't always capture the membership and the people who are involved in the community. We had a number of people coming to church and who are part of our church family who weren't members. So a growing membership out of COVID. We were really getting some momentum with our membership and our programs, missions, and also our children and youth ministries. Those were really ramping back up after the pandemic. I joined Palisades Church in January of 2021, in the middle of the COVID pandemic, when we weren't even meeting in person. And so for the first 6 months or so, it was a lot of screen time with the congregation. And so the past 4 years or so have been a lot of kind of rebuilding our ministries and our programs. So it's just a wonderful church, a wonderful group of people. Palisades, Pacific Palisades, for those who don't know, is a kind of a pocket, kind of a small town feel community within larger Los Angeles. It's located on the coast, the Pacific Ocean, between Malibu and Santa Monica. That's geographically kind of how we fit. Just a wonderful community, wonderful place to raise a family. People go back, decades there in the Palisades, and yet you're part of this larger Los Angeles community. So just a wonderful place to live, and that's part of what makes what happened in January so sad and so hard, because it wasn't just our church that was lost, but essentially the entire town, the entire community was lost in the fire, and so many homes, schools. We were one of a number of churches, houses of worship that either were lost completely or lost at least partially or had significant damage done. The local park, small businesses, restaurants, you name it. And so it's heartbreaking. As a resident for 4 years, it was becoming home, but my heart breaks for many people who've called Palisades home for decades and had lived there since the 70s or even earlier. And that's really what makes this extra challenging and complicated is the loss, not just of our church building, but of so much in the community.
So how did you find out about it? I mean, obviously the fires were devastating Los Angeles, and then how did the church all of a sudden, catch on fire, and how did you find out about it?
Well, there's a whole story. I mean, I'll try and give you the shorter version, but it was a Tuesday morning, and I was at the church office. It was a regular Tuesday. I dropped my kids off at school and was in the middle of a meeting when our preschool director came and interrupted the meeting and said, I think we need to evacuate our school. And we walked outside, and I could see the fire. I could see it on the hills, actually near where my home was, and I could see it coming towards us. And so we immediately evacuated the school, contacted parents for pickup. I in fact had the staff go home, everyone to get on the roads, and I ran to get my kids from school because the roads were packed with cars. So I ran a mile down to their school. For some reason, I had my running shoes in the car that day with me, so I threw those on and started running and got my kids. And that was a very chaotic, difficult scene because it was the fire was very visible from the school, so you can imagine elementary school kids in that situation. And then I brought them back to the church. My wife had met me there. She had come from her workspace, and she got them in the car and started inching her way out through traffic. I made sure the church was empty. Sent one last email to the elders saying we're completely evacuated. You don't have to worry about anyone here. We're evacuated. Everyone be safe. Locked the door. Didn't grab a thing, which I still feel silly about to this day. No one thought it would be coming as far as it did. And then I started on foot to catch up with my wife. I left my car there and eventually caught up to my wife. It was down the road some ways at that point. And we left, and it was scary. It was very frightening, uncertain situation. Everyone getting out at the same time, and you had the helicopters overhead and the fire engines, and just chaos at the same time. And Palisades only has two ways in and out. There's no major highways or anything, so it's very congested just on a normal day. So it was hard, and thankfully everyone did get out. But the rest of that day, that night, trying to learn through news footage and kind of word of mouth where the fire was, and sadly that's how we learned about the church. There was some news footage showing it on fire.
So was it burned to I mean, it was destroyed completely, 100% flattened. Wow.
Yes, sir. We had one thing remain, and that was our cross. We had a metal cross on our communion table in our sanctuary, and I can send you a picture of it if you like. It's on our website.
Please.
It's on our website, but it's such a message, such a symbol for us that everything else was lost. Everything in my office, in our associate pastor's office, the preschool, the sanctuary. Like I said, I grabbed nothing. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway. The one thing that survived was the cross, and that's a come for us.
A sign and a God moment right there that the cross survived. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's a devastating story, and it's something that we need to learn from, because we're right now going through the process of developing our plan for a fire drill or for disasters just for our church. So I can't imagine how you went through that, and you were able to make sure everybody got out. And we also have a children's center, children care and schoolroom in the church. So we would have the same situation. If it was during the day, we'd have to get all the kids out and all the staff. And And so you accounted for everybody, and then you were able to leave, and everybody, went home and was safe, obviously.
Yes, yes. I mean, it goes without saying, it's really important to practice these and be on the same page as a church staff and church leaders. And yeah,
Mm.
thank God, no one was lost. You can lose things, you can lose a building, you can replace that, you can get over that, but we have each other. We have people in our church. We're together. We have our families. We have our children, and that's what most important.
Yeah. Well, that's great, and I'm glad for that, and good prayers for that. So that gets to the question is what's next? What are you doing? Are you trying to rebuild, and what's the
We
plan?
are we are working on all of our options right now. As you can imagine, it's been overwhelming because like I said, it wasn't just the church that was lost; it was the community, and so many of our church members and families lost everything.
Mm.
And if they hadn't lost everything, maybe they're displaced, maybe their home was damaged, or their smoke or ash damage, and they had to move somewhere else. So our people are quite scattered across Los Angeles and even further. And so a lot of us are dealing with insurance personally, dealing with our own matters while also trying to look at the church option. So we've been very fortunate with insurance. The church insurance has been really good to work with, and so we're settling there. And we've also been working with FEMA to look at our options as far as recovery and rebuilding go, as well as the Small Business Administration (SBA) loans. But as you can imagine, there's so much to sort through and to learn from. So yes, our plan is to move forward. Our plan is to gather all the resources and information we can while also still tending to our people. Many people are still very raw, and this is still very emotional, difficult time. So I keep preaching prayer, patience, and perseverance, and all of those together. So we don't want to rush forward too quickly. Making decisions when you've been traumatized or when you're still in the middle of trauma is not the best thing. So let's gather information. Let's continue to work with FEMA, with our insurance company, and learn more about the community, because the church is here to serve the community, and we want to see what kind of needs that community will have, the Palisades will have when it comes back.
Mm.
If that's a preschool, if that's some other service or ministry, then we need to think about that as part of our new structure, part of our new building. And this is our chance to do that. The lot is clear. The lot is empty. It's a dirt lot. So we have a blank canvas to work from. So that's a good thing. And so it's an opportunity, almost like a church that's going through an interim pastor phase, right? To reflect, to pray, to think about your vision and your mission for your church and for your community. We're just doing that on a bigger scale. And so instead of just saying, oh, we're going to rebuild exactly what we had, this is kind of an opportunity to say, how can we best meet the needs of what the new Palisades community is going to be? And then how do we, get together the finances and the plans to do that?
Mm. I guess an interesting time and exercise that you really wouldn't have wanted to have back if you think about it. But interesting
Exactly.
that you have a blank slate of land there and what to do is next.
Yeah, of course, no one would have asked for this, but we've been so blessed and fortunate by what we do have through this, and through so many churches such as Hope and others locally across the country, even internationally. Gets me kind of cheered, kind of choked up to think about it. But so many churches, so many people that have reached out, offered support, given support, praying for us, and that's made such a huge difference through this experience that, like I said, no one wanted to go through this, but we can keep going because we have this love and this support and this encouragement, which I 100% believe is from God. I mean, this is God showing God's love to us through other people and through churches. So it's hard. I'm not going to lie, John. It's really hard, but we've also been so blessed by what we have to get through this.
I really appreciate the time and God bless, obviously, from our congregation to yours, and we're glad we can help and wish we could do more, but thank you for sharing the story.
Oh, well, thank you, John. And again, thank you to your congregation. either through hearing this, or if you're able to share that with your pastors and with the leadership and the congregation. And everything helps. Just the prayers, just the good wishes from our brothers and sisters in Christ means everything. So on behalf of our congregation, thank you very much.